crazy high, it's gonna command attention. A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this, wait till you see all the speakers that's gonna go in that bed. This thing is gonna be loud. It's always cool to work on your own project. There's no limitations, it's on you. Come on out with it. This is gonna be the king around here. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16, and ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need, they come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. You know, back in 2011, we took a Suburban, cut that thing in half, and made it a two-door Tahoe. You know, back when this was built, this was a shocker for the world. 8 years later, you can still take this thing to just a prime example of something I wanted myself to have a business card for Extensive and really set its mark in the custom world. You know, every year I try to top myself to really build something really cool over the top, and we're definitely not done doing that.
Ooh. Pulling out of retirement?
Got a guy won this thing, so we're gonna meet him at a local little car show up in Tyler, where I'm gonna hand over the keys, man.
Wait, like it's leaving?
It's
like,
leaving.
Oh, man.
It's still going to continue to go to car shows. It'll just be kind of like a foster home for it.
Okay, cool.
Time to move on, right?
Yeah.
It's time for something new. You know, it's time for this to go. We're going to load it up, take it to a local car show. This turbine's going to start its new life with this new owner. I hate selling this thing, but it's going to fund the new over-the-top project. Turkey Drag car show, you know, it's always good to get out of the shop, come see what's going on, see some cool cars. Today's kind of bittersweet though, part of the family's leaving, but you know, it's always nice to get that little check also. Man,
all right.
You made it?
Yes, sir.
What do you think, you finally getting to see this thing in person?
I've been looking for this truck for 8 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This truck is super cool, man. Something like nobody else has. That's exactly what I want. One day, a friend of mine, he called me, he says, hey, they got it for sale. So I made the call, we pulled the trigger, and we're here.
What's your favorite thing about this?
I like the way you did it. When we shorten it, make it two-door. That's the only one on the year. I gotta have it, bro.
It's really cool. Antonio's been following this car, you know, for 8.5 years, and he's finally seeing it in person.
Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about, man.
You know, it's the factory 5.3 in this thing, but it's just all cleaned up. It doesn't look like that factory engine anymore, right?
No, it don't look like it no more, man. You can see from every angle, you can see everything, something different.
If you like this, you're definitely going to like the interior.
I think it's crazy, man. You got speakers everywhere, man.
3 big 12s in the back. You see the big hole in the roof. That's out of a Cadillac SRX. You can't buy one that big. Cut that out of another roof and then graft it into this one.
I think it's my right size, man. Yeah.
You know, when Antonio's sat in this seat, I can tell he's been wanting to do that for a long time.
Man, look at that. Man,
it's got a ton of power back here, right?
Man, I would like to
put home and somebody that really appreciates this. Enjoy it, man. Need something, holler. Looking at this thing for the last time, we've done a good job on it. I can't thank all my guys enough for all the late nights and hard work, because as you can see in the car show here, it's still holding its weight. You know, I've gone to shows East Coast to West Coast, almost every state. You see a bunch of lower trucks, lifted trucks, people trying to creep up on us. You know, we can't be having that. That just makes me want to build just something over the top, just lifted super high. If you're going to build a lifted truck, you want something totally different that nobody's seen before. This is the truck to get. I've got a 2020 Chevrolet medium duty that is just going to be insane. The medium duty trucks are in between a 1-ton and an 18-wheeler, so just putting it way up in the air, is definitely something you don't see ever. It's gonna command attention no matter where it goes. This is gonna be the king around here. Is the truck brand new? Yes. Are we gonna pull it in the shop and tear it totally apart and start over? Absolutely.
Company's gotta love you. What is this, test drive or what?
Well, yeah, test drove it. It's my new project.
Oh, Lord.
You always gotta have the bigger, fatter, right? Just the natural progression. Taking a medium duty, putting our spin on it, our style to it, it's just gonna put us over the top again.
I'm scared to see what you're gonna come up with next after this one's that high. But I got you a bay open. Let's go ahead and pull it in there and we'll get it racked up.
So you got me a spot?
Got you a spot.
Let's do it. You know, always before starting a project like this, you always get a little anxious. Just, you can't really wait to get started working on this. I mean, it's still, a passion for all of us. It's the anticipation of getting the thing done, getting it out of the road, and just having a good time with it. It doesn't get any better than that. Most of the time you start to create the canvas and then add to that also. So the finished product is just going to be something that's going to blow everybody away. I love being able to prove myself, to prove my team to everybody. Building a lifted truck, that's fun for me. But building a super huge dually truck that's going to end up being, over 12,000 pounds when we're done, super high off the ground, that's just something I got to have in my life. What you think about this, James?
Man, that's brand new. I ain't seen one of these yet.
Right? Man, I got some big plans for this. First things first, we're going to get this thing up on the lift, and then we're just going to build a crazy drop-down air suspension with the big shocks. Huge 4-link on this thing with the big 1-inch Heims, super thick DOM. I mean, this thing's going to be bulletproof. And I got to have some big wheels and tires on this thing. Definitely. I want to keep that dually in the back, too. Raising this thing up, we're not shooting for a specific amount of inches. I want this thing way off the ground. We're just going to lift this thing till it looks right. When it looks right, we'll go a little bit higher. Because this thing's going to be crazy high. Look at the steps on this. This definitely isn't going to cut it. So we're going to build some custom run crawl up in this big old thing. And as far as the bed, I want to do like a utility style bed with the toolboxes on it.
A work truck bed on top of a big lift like this with the air suspension.
Yeah, you don't ever see anything like that.
I've never seen nothing like that.
Wait till you see all the speakers and all the stereo that's going to go in that bed.
Oh, man.
We got to have it loud. It's got to be loud. They go by you like, man, why? I want that feel of industrialism.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This front end's a little bit too shiny for you.
Man, we got to get rid of all that. Spray it all black, get rid of the chrome, make this thing cool. We're going to have to step it up in the interior, too.
Yeah.
Leather inside, suede headliner. And this thing doesn't even come with carpet. Of course, we're going to put that in it, too. We're going to make the inside just plush as can be.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Well, if you can't wait, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
This thing is almost 6 tons stock. Because this thing is so big, we're going to take a few extra precautions. And Jamie's going to weld some extensions directly to the lift so we can pick this thing up safely.
Oh, that's nice. This truck was barely stocked for maybe a couple days, and it's already up on the lift. All right, so go ahead and separate the axles from the leaf springs. Go ahead and lift up the frame, then go ahead and pull the leaf springs.
We're going to be taking this thing to car shows all over, but it's not just about the trophy. This thing is going to be able to get to work too. So Rudy's going to start burning the hangers and brackets with all 5/16 plate.
Being that this is typically just used for work and never lifted, we had to build some extra heavy-duty hangers to support the whole weight of this work truck. If these things aren't strong enough, then our whole 4-link system will just collapse and be worthless.
Yeah, So the next step we're doing this huge lift, huge super heavy lift, is building the 4-link brackets on the rear end. Rudy cut some 5/16 plate. This allows the 4-link to mount from the truck to the rear end and everything pivot. I mean, this was where all the stopping, starting, pulling power is all transferred into these pivot points here. Especially as high as this thing's gonna be, all the weight is compounded. So this thing has to be really, really strong. This is a major point of the whole suspension. When you're lifting a big Silverado 5500 over a foot in the air, you know, the 4-link has to be not only super strong and support all the weight that's going to be way up in the air, you know, it's got to look cool too. You know, one of the things that makes this thing super strong is the 1-inch FK Heims are really, really strong. So we're going to use that in conjunction to some really thick DOM, and that's going to make it so we never have to worry about that whatsoever.
Alright, got my highs bolted up, all exactly the same, so we're gonna go ahead and bolt this up to the truck and continue with our 4-link. Now we got our 4-link bolted up. These things look beefy. So we can go ahead and start setting up our diagonal link. A diagonal link in a wishbone is always gonna keep your rear end completely centered through all of its range of travel. This sucker right here is gonna make sure that the whole rear end is nice and straight as it travels up and down. I only wish I could say the same thing about my back right now.
This thing comes with power steering, but to save a little space, we're going to convert everything into all hydraulic steering.
So this big steering gearbox is going to have to go. We're going to get rid of this one and install a new hydraulic steering system. Alright, so you can see our old gearbox is a whole lot bigger than our new one. In this case, looks can be deceiving. This small little guy here is going to do just as much as our big one here. This right here is basically our servo. All it does is transfer all the hydraulic fluid down to our hydraulic pump, which is going to be placed on the axle somewhere. Went ahead and made a brand new mount for our hood strut. That way we don't lose the support for our hood. Alright, we got our servo bolted up, linked up to our steering shaft. Everything looks good. And then the fun part, figuring out where that goes.
What we're doing now is mounting the hydraulic cylinder to the axle. We got a rolled piece of pipe that we had laying around the shop, so we're going to make 3 separate pipes to hold the hydraulic cylinder for the steering to mount it right to the axle. I mean, we could use a straight piece of pipe, but it looked way cooler to have a little style to it and use the rolled pipe and be super strong also. The cylinder where we want, we got the roll tubing connecting the axle to the mount. It looks good. Super strong and stylish for sure.
Alright, now that we got our hydraulic cylinder mounted and welded up, we're going to go ahead and make 2 rods, one for each side, to connect from the cylinder to our spindle. That way when our cylinder starts pushing those rods out left and right, our truck will go left or right. So just to make sure that our new tie rod ends are exactly the same, we're going to go ahead and jig up the first one I just welded up. That way my second one will bolt up just exactly like the first one. We got our first new tie rod made. Go ahead and duplicate it and make another one. Tie rods are in, as you can see. As our cylinder pushes in and out, it's going to steer our truck left and right.
We're going to start building the air suspension, and straight pipe is never a good idea. We want something with a little style. So Max is about to get out and get to it of rolling a lot of pipe and tubing for my truck to build the bag mounts, shock mounts, and just make it look cool. we're going to do things a little different this time. Instead of putting the lower bag mounts in place and then building down to the axle, I think what we'll do is take the lower bag mount off, build it on the table.
That way I don't have to keep crawling under here and throwing my back out every time I get in here.
Right. I got that. We can just simulate the axle with a piece of pipe on the table and build our pipe all to that. So we're gonna make all of our pieces fit in a little square here.
You got it?
I know you do.
Main thing here is just trying to make everything look symmetrical. It's kind of different not doing it on the truck, but our simulated axle, everything's gonna fit right on there. Like if it was on the truck, it's gonna save my back and my knees and lots of time. All right, we got all these welded up. Now we go slap these on the truck.
Heck yeah, Rudy. That's gonna work good. Let's get the other side on, and then we'll put our straight edge across here and clamp it. And that, instead of trying to spend the time to level everything, you know it's 100% perfect. Weld that sucker out, and then we'll move to the uppers.
Hey, that's a great idea.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
That is what we like to call rap. Man, these are some big old shocks. These shocks are gonna be able to hold up all the hard work this truck's gonna go through.
We got both sides punched. Got our shock mount in the right spot. I'm just gonna drill it. Drill that side. Everything's gonna be 100% true, so the truck goes perfectly leveled when you're going down the road.
I don't know if you noticed it. There's a sign over there. Do not drill or weld spring.
What do you think, Rudy? This big old shock looks perfect proportion to this big old truck, right?
Doesn't even look that big when it's on the truck.
Right? That's it, man. This is the last little bit of the suspension. This thing's ready to get blown apart and get coated.
Shoot, well, let's do it.
You know, it's always good to be in this part of the process, you know, having all the fabrication done, all the figuring out is done. You know, all the mental anguish is over. Every part of the process from now on is just improvements. You know, it's about to be the payoff for all the hard work. For the Chevy Silverado 5500. This thing is cool, but this is just a starting platform for what I'm thinking. You know, it's always cool to be able to work on your own project. There's no limitations. There's nobody telling you, you know, what to do, what they want. There's no restrictions whatsoever. Whatever you can think of, whatever you can dream of, it's on you.
Yeah, but this much more. Just forward.
That's what the shop's all about, is building cool cars, and especially one that stands out from all the rest of the builds, all the rest of the cars around. You want to make something that just has your personality built in with it. Man, I love this point of the build. Just start to see all the big pieces come together. You know, makes for a really good day, especially something like this. To see a service bed like this with a truck like this is going to be real cool, especially when it's real high up in the air. Getting excited. You know, the more I look at this thing together, the wheels are turning, getting a few more ideas to really top this thing off. Definitely got to get rid of this.
You just can't leave well enough alone, can you?
Man, this is the point. This isn't well enough. I just love this truck, how everything's looking, but you know, the trailer lights in this thing just kill it. So what I did, man, I had this little plate lasered out for the triple stack of the ABS LEDs. So I'll just cut this thing out, weld this right in. No more trailer lights. Man, I love the style of this bed. You know, I love the work truck feel of this truck, but it's got to have something all the other ones. So the way the new bumper is going to look with the lines on the running board and they carry on to the lines around the bed, the triple stack lights are just really going to go with the whole overall feel of the truck.
Looks like you're adding some TVs to the back of your truck.
I would have 10 years ago. We have them all over the place. You know, Tim's grinding down the light panel we made. He's getting a little bit of bevel all the way around it. So when we weld the light panel into the bed, I'll bevel this a little also. You know, we'll grind this thing down nice and flush. You know, no powder coat left on it, so you want it metal to metal. Nice weld, nice grind, and very little body filler. And this thing's gonna look super smooth.
These lights are going to go in from the back side. This is the bucket that holds the LEDs. So to make a stud on here to hold these buckets, I'm going to drill it all the way through. Then I'll take a bolt and cut the head off. And this side, where the hole is, we'll tack it. Once we do that, it'll hold the bucket tight, hold it against here, it'll be bright, and it'll be better for the weather.
Let's do this, Timmy. You know, the key to doing this type of metal work is making it totally flush. So a little trick is rubbing your fingernail back and forth. That way you know for sure that one isn't sticking up higher than the other. Just ensures for a nice, even, smooth weld and grind. We got our lifted suspension back from powder coat, and I'm really happy we went with gold.
I don't know, it came out pretty good.
It looks good. It looks like something you go buy at the store, right?
Yeah.
So let's start getting all the suspension components bolted up underneath there, you know, the hangers, the bag mounts and everything, and then we'll put the axles in so we're not working around all that. Hold on. Where you at?
I need to come over. It's right here.
Okay, look. Let it touch the frame a minute. I ain't enough.
Gotta open more.
That's 33 3/4. This is 34 1/4 now. Got a long way to go. So what we're doing is overspreading this so we can install it and not scratch our frame up. Like welding process, the heat makes everything distort a little bit, move and wander around. So we're overspreading it, putting up in place, so when we put the bolts in, it's going to cinch it all up super tight. We're good to go. See, just little tricks like that make all the difference in the world.
Nice and tight, looking right.
We're going to try to pull this up with straps from the truck itself and try to cause as minimum damage as we can.
You know, when you're building these things, people think this is decorative, but really it's not. Each pipe displaces the weight on the bag mount. If you had one, it'd try to teeter-totter. Two would rock the other way. Four makes it solid. So the more you can get, just the better, the beefier it's gonna hold up. And this being a 1.5 ton, you're gonna need all the bag mount, all the support you can get. Now you can see this just completes the whole big, massive, heavy look of the truck we're going for. Just in your face, massive.
Small speaker there. Another small speaker there. Lifting a brand new Silverado 5500 is definitely going to turn heads. But I also want to make this thing really loud. So John's going to customize the headache rack with a pair of handmade speaker pods, just like you'd see on a wakeboard boat. We're going to use these speakers as a chipboard and arrange it up here and see how it looks the best. And once it looks good, we'll make it out of metal. I think we'll put a couple bends in it. Give it some character. We'll cut this faceplate out, and then we're gonna end up connecting this to the headache rack with a bunch of little pieces to give it that wakeboard style setup. We'll get this template off here, go trace it on some metal and cut it out. Doing custom work like this is always fun.
I'm so used to doing, suspension work and metal work, but when it comes to doing metal work outside the box, it's always fun to do something different. Now I got the outside shape cut out. What I'm gonna do is mark 1.25 inches all the way around, and I'm gonna cut that out, and it's gonna leave me 1.25 inch flange to go mount up on the headache rack. And I did a radius here where the speaker's gonna be at. Change it up a little bit. Now all these straight lines were easy because I just, run a torch along a straight edge. It's all about finding a right spot to hold this torch and just pivot it around. Keep it steady. Stumble a little bit, the torch is gonna move, and I'm gonna mess this piece up. I'm gonna start all over. That's how you get it done. I'm gonna draw me some lines where I know to set this up in the metal brake and give it a little break here and there to give it that crazy shape that we're looking for. So now we got a little personality to this. The only thing I gotta do is do the exact same thing to the other piece. We're gonna get to cutting. We're gonna remove all of this out of there. We don't need it. It's gonna give us a much cleaner look without it. I'm free. No more locked doors. Now it's time to clean this up. Take some of this paint off so we can tack our new pieces on. That way we can get these cool tower speakers built on this headache rack. We got everything grinded and sanded down nice and clean. Now we can see what we got to work with. What I'm going to do now is tack me a couple pieces from here to the headache rack, and then we're going to start building our plates off of that. Now I got the frames all on there. Now it's time to fit the speakers inside the frame to see how they fit all in there. This is looking really cool. Imagine this going down the road, music blaring.
The new wheels are 28 by 8.25, and our new tires are 42 by 1550s. They're way too big for our tire machine. So Tim's gonna take them somewhere that'll handle the job.
Should be 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely got our work cut out for us, man.
It's on there. Phase 1. We're going to let this beautiful machine here and that robo arm kind of push down on these sidewalls so we can get underneath there and make sure that thing fits for you. Usually the shop, if we have something big like this, we gotta grab some big pro bars and do it on the ground. Like butter. See if we can get some air in this bad boy and get it rolling. So because we work on everyday cars, this actually has a regulator on there to keep my guy safe. Because this is a 1550 on a 28 8.25 wheel, we're gonna hook up a direct line and just straight on air. There it goes. That's good. Perfect. Done. Woo. Man, I was just joking about 10 or 15 minutes, but y'all made that look super easy. You got it, good.
What's up, man?
That's looking good, man.
Yeah, once that grill's in there, man, it's gonna look really good.
We definitely want to take our time to make it right. Get the angles right. You want to look at it wherever you're at it. You want it to look cool.
Coolness from every angle.
Right. Finishing the sides and boxing it in is going to be pretty critical on something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I got the chipboard, got the tape. Start making it.
Hell yeah.
The puzzle has begun.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know where this is gonna take you, right? It's a work bed, but you still want it to look cool. You want it different, right? You don't want it to be like the same one going down the street.
Yeah. If I was to see this thing going down the road, I'd be like, man, I want one of those.
Right. So it's a great start right here. You're creating the coolness factor as we go. So you want to really get back once you get a couple steps in. We'll get back and really see how that's flowing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about custom, right? Is making it your own, making it cool, making somebody go, man, that's cool. Yeah. That's what we do this for. It's got a little flatness right here. Let's get a back piece on here. See if we can change it up a little bit. Yeah, man, that looks good. Yeah.
Bill got a good start on laying this out for me, so I know exactly what he wants. Now I could go and take his template, trace this on some metal, get to cutting and breaking it. I'm gonna start breaking on here, and then I'm gonna break this line, and I'll do the two ends last. And by doing this, we'll get one nice clean piece with a few breaks in it instead of a bunch of welding going on, which would tend to cause warping. Now we got the outside cap. I'm gonna start building this inside piece for the bottom. I'm getting all my measurements off of what we already built here and transferring them over to this piece of sheet metal that's gonna fit these contours here. I'm gonna take it over to the brake, bend it. And it's just so much better trying to do this as one piece of metal than having so much work on the body guys. They could give me a pat on the back when I'm done. I'm gonna tack this up front and back and then trim up all the excess. Now we got this bottom panel in, we can continue over the top, connect the two. Because the issue I'm having is the speaker mount is higher than the rest. And I'll go back and mold this in with some more material and make it look like it's supposed to be like that. And it is supposed to be like that. Shh, don't tell nobody. Get that all molded up and make it look good. This is one of those things that had to be done for clearance issues, but at the same time of just notching it out, we could also make it look cool.
Man, John, this thing looks so good. That's something you definitely don't see every day, right?
Right, definitely.
This thing is going to be loud. Having built a few lifted trucks in our day, you got to think about how you're going to climb up in it. So we made some brand new running boards for our Chevy 5500. We got the truck over on the 4-post lift. It's way easier to work on this thing, perfect height, just the height you're working at, and no post in the way. What we did is take off the factory steps, and they're going to replace it with a piece of sheet metal that we had in our spot for our toolboxes. Cleans it up a lot, huh? Hides all that. And gives it a little style too.
Way better. Now it looks complete.
Let's give it a quick little rough cut. Anytime you're doing something like this where, you get one shot at it, it's a little bit of work taking this thing on and off, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, but it's a lot more work to go back and have to recreate something you already cut off too much of. Looks like a factory part. I guess the next step is cutting the holes out, and we'll get these boxes in. Man, I kind of like it right there. Little cut lines. Man, that looks way better, huh? No more flatness. Gives us some depth, and it's useful.
Maybe some measurements here.
The speaker pods are done, but we're not finished with the audio. I want to fill some of the built-in boxes in the bed with speakers and amps. And John's over in the interior shop making some amp racks right now.
We got 9 amplifiers total going in this thing. This thing's going to be a monster. We get the Brad. And when we have the other set of amplifiers stacked over here, we'll be able to just travel up and down through here with our wires and get this thing drawn out and make a pretty cool looking little amp rack. And we'll get all those cut out. We'll have amplifier here. Bam, bam, bam. Next thing I'm going to do, cut out some 1/4-inch strips, get them stapled on. We'll go over the router, plus trim all this out. So the next step I got is take my template that I made, transfer it over onto the aluminum so I can go rough cut it out. By far the worst part of working with aluminum is having to rough cut it because you have to do it by hand. All you can do is just get after it and cut it and settle in for a long journey because it's not easy. Alright, we just take our double-sided stick tape here, lay it up, get it stuck to this aluminum. Basically what we've got here is some dish soap. I like to use this stuff here for a lubricant for cutting aluminum. If you mess up cutting it, there's no fixing it. You just throw it away and start all over, and that's never fun for anybody. I've watched guys lose their jobs over scrapping parts. Not something I want to do. Alright, pull these apart. Alright, clean this off.
Go over to Jesse, get him to...
Bill can't leave well enough alone. He'd asked me to get 2 speakers out of the shop. So I brought him a box. He said, no, 2 boxes. So he's going to add 4 more speakers to the front. So the back's going to be loud, and now the front's going to be loud.
My brand new Silverado medium duty is almost done. We're going to add a winch and a place for even more speakers. Man, this is exactly what this thing has to have, some kind of forward projection. So the 6.5-inch wake tower speakers are just perfect.
Really hope people like Bill's music. You're going to be listening to exactly what he's listening to.
After all the work we did to the bed, it's time to get it over to body and paint so we can color match everything all black.
Welcome in, guys. Welcome in.
Now the only thing left is putting all the pieces together.
Good morning. Yeah.
We're installing the amp rack, running boards, and speaker grills. Huge billet dually wheels, and then it's ready for its world premiere. You know, it's great working with great craftsmen, and it's even cooler to work with. Strive to do better and do better and do better.
I never had an older brother, so I've always looked at Bill as that older brother you look up to that always had the cooler stuff. Way older brother.
Me and Tim have this kind of sibling rivalry for sure. We're always pushing each other, you know, when we're building things for ourselves. He's working on his own car. You go by, you're like, oh man, what is, you gonna let this get by, Tim? I don't let him get by with stuff he would, you know, try to do on his truck, and him the same with me.
We have a competition with each other, but we want the best for his, best for mine. End of the day, we're still putting extensive on both of them. So he and I do push each other to go to the max, because it's us against everybody, not just him against me. You know, we're trying to set the bar on the whole car industry. Thanks, older bro.
Every year we have an open house at the shop. We got friends, family, old customers, and hopefully some new ones. And I can't wait to show them what we've been up to. It's always cool to, you know, have parties like this, have an open house, and just, you know, see what comes through the door. And stuff like this is exactly what, you know, gets me excited. You know, you never know what's going to come through the gate, but you got to go see what's going on. How old is he?
4 months.
4 months? Man, he is cool. Man, this thing's crazy. You know, there's a certain kind of person that loves lifted trucks. And for them, a brand new Chevy 5500 medium duty, 14 inches in the air, is going to blow them away.
Hey, you guys, come on over. I want to show you guys something. Come on. Come on, Rick. Come on over.
For real, thank you guys for coming out, you know, and always supporting, you know, myself, my team, Extensive. It says a lot to me, you know, you guys coming out. I know it's free food and free beer, but thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, I got all you guys together. You know, I want you guys to check out the latest Extensive build and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
All right, Timmy, come on out with it.
Example of just teamwork makes the dream work. Brand new medium duty Silverado. When I got this thing, it was just a cabin chassis, just basic work truck, no frills whatsoever. So first thing we did is got it in the shop, put it on the lift, and got it at the height that looked good. Push the button again, a little higher. Push the button again, a little. All right, cool. Get the axles down in the right spot and just build everything from the truck down to the ground. Starting out with the big, huge 4-link underneath this thing, big bags. This thing gets 14 inches of lift from all the way down to all the way up, totally adjustable. You know, if you're gonna have a big 4x4 truck like this, you gotta have some unique, cool wheels on this thing. 28-inch dually wheels with big 42-inch tall tires. You know, I wanted to go something totally different and do a utility bed. You know, nobody does a bed like this on a truck like this.
Typical Bill fashion, when we got the bed, couldn't leave well enough alone. You think you can bolt the bed on this thing? Yeah, I never worked with Bill Carlton. He had to change up the whole bed, tail light, side, added some speakers on the top.
Well, if you're gonna have a stereo, you gotta have a stereo. I wanted like a wakeboard style stereo in the headache rack. Somebody behind me, they ain't gonna be able to hear either. And we put 10 Rockford Tower speakers all throughout the bottom of this thing. So not only that, it's gonna hit just as good. There's a ton of stereo just inside also. You know, we utilize every compartment in this thing just to be loud. From the speakers behind the grill to the winch, this thing's ready to party and get to work. Now you gotta be able to get in this big old truck, right? So had to make some steps, had to build some running boards and incorporated, you know, toolboxes in this thing just to break up some of the smoothness that's in between there. You know, tie everything together and give it a little style. I really appreciate all you guys coming out and checking this thing out. Another example, teamwork right here. And this is what happens. Everybody comes together and makes some cool stuff. You guys walk around this thing, check it out. Let me know how we did.
Truck is unreal. I'd love to build something like this one day. When they did the speakers up here, that's amazing, man. I mean, you don't see that type of work made out of metal.
Big 42 tires on them 28s. They wrap pretty good looking.
Man, I love this Bill, man. Bill showed out again, man. I'm definitely going to pull up to the shop and take this one out on the weekend and pull up to the club in it.
Reaction of these guys, we did what we were supposed to do. You know, when you're building a custom truck, every part and piece plays upon the whole bed. There's so much customization on this thing. It'd take you 2 hours to see everything that's going on from bumper to bumper. This thing's gonna bring a lot of business to the cut $10,000 off this truck.
Oh, you didn't just bring more wiring over here.
Size-wise, this 2019 Polaris is a small vehicle for us, but it's got some big issues.
Heck, having this thing,
Man, this thing was in a tornado. Anything we can do to help you, man, and help your granddaughter, you know we're in.
If this ain't hooked up correctly, nothing's gonna work.
oh, no way!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
You know, what better way to have a little family bonding than having your kids help you cut up a car? And before I send this thing off to get scrapped, I figured I'd give my kids a little lesson on how to use some tools and cut some metal.
I've never really used, like, tools like this. Like, I mean, it's not that bad, except for it's just, like, you know, pumping my arms out, but that's all right. It's a good workout, and I really like working out, so I guess it's fine.
Couple little more pieces, the whole roof's gonna be off. Go out on your side. Got it? Yep. What do you think?
Heck,
Fresh convertible?
Yes.
it's a good family day. We cut up the car, and so now we're just gonna have some fun.
Test it out.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Cleve at? Cleve! Come on! Come on! You know, I can't really tell you personally how many donuts I've done in this parking lot. You know, maybe 1 million or so. You know, but this is Cleve's first, and he seemed really happy to be here. Seeing this thing in a stage like this, it finally feels like this thing's coming together. You know, after being so long just a cab on the lift, feels like we're getting some things done. It's been a lot of hard work. You got that right. I mean, just getting this thing apart is a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
We're months into making this 2020 Denali 3500, one of the first ever body drop in the world. The owner wants to haul some of his other show cars with it to SEMA. So we had to put more engineering into this thing to make it perform even better than he wants. With a body back on the frame, it looks like we're almost done, but I can tell you, we're a long ways away.
Oh, Lord, are you guys trying to pull a house or something? That's serious.
Damn right it is. I mean, this transfers all the weight from a trailer. Sometimes it could be 20, 30,000 pounds of stopping and starting. Goes to this right here.
So we can put a house on there.
Absolutely. Just from the start of this, get it on the lift and tearing it apart was a major job. You know, laying the chassis out, building the chassis on the table, getting the frame underneath this, you know, rear suspension, just to get to this stage is huge amount of labor.
I know.
This is not just double work or triple work. It's not even quadruple. What's after quadruple?
A lot.
The finishing work on a build like this is always the hardest part. It's a huge build, but the small details, they take a lot of time. Now that we got the foundation, we can build the front suspension and huge wheel tubs to tuck those big old 28-inch wheels. Color match the frame and plastics, create a fully articulating speaker system in the bed, and finding space to put everything back together under the body. And that's rewiring, reconnecting, rebuilding, making this truck 100% brand new again, just like it is.
We got a lot of work done, but there's still a whole lot of work to do and a whole lot of parts to order. So let's get to it.
Let's get it.
This stage of the build, it's all about making room underneath the body to cram everything back in. So Tim and John are getting started to making room for these big old wheels.
The name of the game is the bigger the wheels, the lower to the ground. And you know as well as I know.
Most important thing,
The brake
system.
We're not going to cut the factory fender tabs off. We're going to use those to line everything back up. That way it'll look factory from the outside, and it'll keep all the factory gaps exactly the same. We're going to build back a support with some DOM. We need something that's going to keep all these tabs 100% where they're at and keep this where it's at. Because then the fender will bolt right back up here, and all this will gap back perfect, the hood will shut perfect, everything will stay right.
You know, I've seen a lot of custom builds where they made something look good, but later on down the road, it just didn't hold up. Yeah, so we got to fit it down, huh? We got to have form and function, stability. What good is a cool car if you can't drive it down the road safely? Pretty damn good.
That's going to work. That clears the hinge, clears the hood, supports that.
Clears a gas shock too, so we don't have to mess with that.
I think everything's going to be perfect.
I'm welding the fender tabs right to the support to keep everything in line. Now we got our new support in there, we can remove all of this to get our new big wheel in there. There you go. Starting to see this thing getting put together and starting to look like a whole truck again.
You see the door gap, it all lines back up perfect. We don't even have to sit there and try to make the fender mounts.
Yep, and it's looking real good.
While Tim and John are making good progress on the 2020 Denali's front end, I'm going to get started making articulating speaker brackets for the bed. You know, just having a drop dually, big wheels all the way on the ground just isn't enough. You just got to have that little bit more. So we're going to make a speaker bracket that mounts 4 speakers in the bed and articulates up. So when he's parked, he can actually raise it up and the sound projects over the bed and out to everywhere. I took a couple of quick measurements off the bed with the bed cover, with the wheel wells, and made a quick drawing on the table so I know exactly what kind of room we have to work with, and we'll come up with some kind of mount that's going to be cool. Just a lot of figuring out to do. You know, there's a lot of pivot points, a lot of measuring. We'll see what happens. We need to make one a little shorter to maybe kick it up a little bit or kick it down a little bit. You can play with all those little angles, all those little pivot points to make the speaker do whatever you want to with it. So once we make them act right, we can duplicate that in bars and pipe and bushings.
Man, that's something to start out, but having some articulation like this, where it actually moves and it's got function to it, man, that's that next step.
I'm using the measurements from the rods and bolts to make the final articulating arms for the speakers.
We'll have something like that.
I want these things quick, so Max and Jesse are going to weld these things out, all while me and Jamie are going to make the frame to hold all these mounts to the bed.
You know, it's one thing to lay it out on the table and make little bitty mounts and get it in your head, okay, it's going to work. But when you actually convert that over to the bracketry and drill holes and spend time making all the pivot points right, the little bars right, you put it all together, you know, there is some question there if it's really going to work. So right now we're going to put it together and actually see if it's going to do what we need to do. You just have that in your head, just popped it out.
I mean, figure it out till it works. See what works. Speaker about here, you know, facing out, then coming out over the bed. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like really cool.
We finished fabric, gonna make room for it in the bed.
All right, now we're to the point we need to put this bed on the new frame. But as you can see, the notch of the frame and the gooseneck hitch is gonna stick through the bed. So what I'm gonna do right now is just cut a hole out in this bed floor so I can get it on there, and then we'll go back and figure out how we're gonna fill this back in. When this truck's laid out all the way on the ground, you'll be able to walk up, look in the bed, and the gooseneck hitch and the bag mounts are gonna show through the bed floor. And you get to appreciate all the work that went into this frame, which for me is a nice change. A lot of times we'll do all this and it simply gets covered up. All right, now we have a hole.
I'm about to cut $10,000 off this truck. We gotta remove all this, because once that truck lays down on the floor, we need room for that big tire to reach all the way up here. Now we get all this out the way, now we got plenty of room for these big wheels and tires.
Which means it's got 4 wheels in the back. So that means we need to make even larger wheel tubs in the bed to fit those 28-inch tires.
This is how we roll our sheet metal to get the same radius as our wheel tub. And we need a little bit more. So the tub has to be extra wide to accommodate both dually wheels on the back of this truck. So what we're going to do is butt weld the new piece to the old piece, and what that is fitting them tightly together on edge and welding right along the crease. Just to let you know, welding around magnets sucks. These magnets hold the piece of the metal together while I weld, which is good, but because the welder uses a metal wire, that same magnet disrupts the arc connection. So it can be a little tricky. Welding is nearly impossible.
John officiated the marriage of these two pieces of metal. Relationships have ups and downs and bumps. So me, I'm a marriage counselor. I'm gonna smooth this out.
You on fire today?
Things got a little smoky around here.
What's up, Doug?
Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man.
In the custom car business, it's always good to get those repeat customers. We worked on Doug's 48 GMC truck years ago. Good to see you, man. What are we doing with this thing?
Well, we're not doing anything to the truck. We're going to focus on the most important thing. That's my granddaughter's Polaris.
That.
This.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, I know it don't look like a Polaris today, but it used to. Her house was hit by a tornado on Easter Sunday, an EF4 tornado in South Mississippi. They lost everything. Destroyed the house, destroyed everything, lost all of her toys, clothes, and she lost her Polaris. And this was the most important thing that she was looking for after the tornado. So we've got to get it fixed. The tornado hit my daughter's house with our 3 grandchildren, and it scared me and my wife to death. We were here in Houston. She called us right before it happened, and then it was 15, 20 minutes before she called us back and told us they were okay. Very scary moment. When everything was done, and this was the first thing she went to looking for, and it was 250 yards away, and you can tell it may have barrel rolled once. So that's why this Polaris is so important.
You know, we customized a lot of vehicles in all different stages of the customization, but never one that's been through a tornado. I don't know if there's really much hope for this thing, but we're definitely going to see what we can do. I think the first thing we need to do is actually get this thing down and really see what we got to do. You know, get that frame back straight. I know there's probably going to be some frame issues, and put new plastics on it, make sure that all bolts back together right. And I think instead of just bolting the factory cage back on, just build something cool for her. Make it so she's, you know, not only looking cool, but safe also.
Absolutely. She loves this thing, and whatever you do is going to make it that much better, Bill.
Yeah, this thing's going to be cool. You know, this isn't a normal project we do around here. You know, but being so close to the Gulf, we know all about what those storms can do. Anything we can do to help you, man, and help your granddaughter, you know we're in.
Man, I appreciate you, Bill. That's why I come to see you.
You know, a job like this is what I would normally turn away. But, you know, when an old friend brings it in and it has such a heartwarming story, you don't have any choice but to help out. Looking at this after it's been in a storm the way it has, and just seeing the steel being mangled and rolled over, but it just shows you how much power the wind has. Then I'm just happy no one was hurt in that. I'm going to pull this into the shop, and everybody's going to go, what are you doing? What's this here for? But once they hear the story and they hear who it's for, I know they're going to be all in. By the time we get a small project, right?
The heck happened to this thing? It looks like somebody jumped it.
Man, this thing was in a tornado. The wind did this. Chunked this thing a quarter mile. You know, it's Doug's granddaughter. She just cherished this thing. This was her favorite thing to have, right? And they lost their house. They lost everything. So we need to bring this thing back to life. What I want to do is get it in the shop so we got a nice level surface. Let's take off all the plastics and, you know, skirting on this thing to see what's bent and what's straight.
Yeah, I'm sure once you get all this off, all kind of stuff's going to be...
Yeah, I'm definitely afraid of that, but it ain't something we can't handle for sure. Now, once we get everything back straight, I want to go back with new plastics, bumpers, front and rear, and we'll probably wrap the new plastics too to not have the
everybody else look.
Exactly. If we're going to do it, we might as well make it special for it. We'll put doors on this thing, to get rid of that. It's not as safe as doors on this thing. We'll top it off with some lighting, and she had speakers underneath here, but we'll add some cool ones to it. Once we get all the bottom of this thing all nice and straight, we'll go back with a custom cage, just a one-off, and we'll make the roof a little longer, stronger, meaner, and a lot cooler looking.
It's really cool to do this back for her and make it all back to something she really enjoyed. It's going to be better than Christmas for her.
Be nice to be a part of that, right?
Yeah.
Doug's definitely going to be Grandpa of the Year.
I might adopt him as my grandpa.
Keegan and Joey are going to tear this down so I can see what shape the chassis is in. Have you ever had one of these in here, kid?
Not something like this big, but maybe a little small, a little tiny 4x4.
Little small one?
Yeah, ride around every once in a while.
Good?
Yeah.
Good over there? Ready to go up. Tweak to the rear of the frame on the little side-by-side. So what I'm going to use is the porta-power here. It's basically a slender jack. So you put the little pieces together till it fits into place, put it in between the frame and the bent part of the frame, jack it up perfectly straight when I'm done. Double check the level real quick on that. It's riding the line a little bit, but it's still in between the lines. We want it on the money. Well, it's off. It needs to come up on this one. This one? Up? Yes. Come on up, 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 right there. Being thrown through the air like it was, this frame is in better shape than I thought it was going to be. Check it right here. But even small bends to it can have huge consequences. It's kind of wobbly on that thing. So our first step, we need to straighten it up. Go up on it? Yeah.
blow them out.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on just a second. Let's get a long piece of tubing and stick right here. We went just a little too far, so we can give it a little tweak.
Okay.
You know, so we're jacking it up, push a little bit. So you got to push it up just past level, so when the tension releases, it comes back level, right? Well, we went just a little bit too far, so we're just gonna take a big bar, twist that sucker again, and make it perfect. Man, do that one more time. I think you got it. Perfect. Size-wise, this 20, but because the tornado literally threw it a quarter of a mile, it's got some big issues. You know, Jamie fixed the axles, we straightened the frame, so now we can put on new plastics and doors.
All right, Jamie, I think we're ready for the door, man.
Well, let's see what happens.
Try to get the other door on.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Hey, Bill.
Huh?
Everything's in. Man, this is how much further than it's supposed to be.
To the center of that hole.
That one ain't the same shape.
That's 32 and an 8. Yeah, it's been a little bit.
It's got a belly.
Typical job, you know, you thought was cut and dry. Okay, this is bent, let's fix it. Done. Everything should line up, right? Well, that's not the way it works. Start putting the doors on it, notice, whoa, this doors overlaps the body by an inch. So trying to just bend it back an inch is going to be pretty difficult.
Where do we even start to pull it?
Let's get this thing off of here, get it loaded up on the back of the wrecker.
Okay.
We'll strap it down and see if we can pull it with the winch.
Cool.
Tilt forward. We got the front and the back of the frame are still tweaked. So we're going to use the wrecker and the winch to stretch the body, all while keeping the integrity of the frame. It's the only tool I can think of. We can pull at multiple points at one time and still hold everything from the back and strap it down to the wrecker. So we'll see what happens. Here, come do this real quick. Let me look at it. Okay. Ready? I'll tell you when to stop. Just as easy as you possibly can.
All right.
Okay, do it again. All right. Cut off. All right. You know, the wrecker and the winch definitely done its job. Door's got plenty of room now. We definitely tweaked it, moved it forward. You know, the next thing is getting everything back nice and level so it all lines up. And everything will be on the money. On the other side of the shop, Tim and John are finishing up the extra large wheel tubs on that 2020 Denali.
Now we got a completed extended rear tub. Now I can get this placed in the bed, clamped with a straight edge across the top, and get it tacked in place. That fits nicely. I like it. Place. Now we can weld these things fully and get ready to move on to capping these edges and putting the bed back on the truck.
We have the tubs made here. Now we need to make the filler go down to here. Something to keep the dirt out of there, the mud, the water coming out all the way. This will really just enclose the wheels and it adds strength and structure to the tub. So we're going to tack it. When we come back and grind it, it'll all look like one piece, like it wasn't made out of 3 pieces. This whole tub will look like a one piece you just set in here.
Because the Denali needs to look like a show truck and perform like a work truck, we need to build a massive set of control arms to keep all that weight going straight down the road.
Building control arms for a bigger truck, you want to have a stronger arm than your typical square body or regular half-ton pickup truck. That's why we use thicker material, bigger, better ball joints to be able to accommodate not only the weight of the vehicle, but the weight that's actually attached to the back of it as well.
Go ahead and throw the wheel on just to make sure when it pushes out, we're not hitting here. We clear everything. See what it looks like laid out too.
Yeah. The top of this bar is going to rip. That represents our suspension being bottomed out completely, which in turn means the truck laid out all the way on the floor.
90 think it looks good in there, you ought to see it from out here. It ate up half that wheel, put it all the way in there. It looks good. It looks real good.
Does it look as good as me?
We sent the chassis off to powder coat. Now we can get to reconnecting, which is probably miles of wire, back into a space that's way more limited.
So when we first got started with this truck, hooking all of this, that was easy. Very easy. But going back and putting it all in, laying all the harnesses out, that's really, really not fun.
Oh, you didn't just bring more wiring over here.
I was starting to feel good until I seen you walk over with that. Was that heavy?
A little bit. Now I know why this is a 1-ton.
Needed a 1-ton just to hold up all the harness.
Yeah. You got this, buddy.
We're gonna have to get that box to fit through there.
We gotta get all these wires, all these sensors, everything plugged back. Almost everything works on a loop, where if this isn't connected, half the truck on that side won't work. If something's not connected, a little sensor in the back, this might not work, that might not work. So everything has to be plugged in. This is factory, so the computer doesn't throw any codes or act like there's a problem anywhere.
Custom frame for the 2020 Denali is back from powder coat. The white is going to match perfect with the body.
You know, the powder makes a really, really nice coating on it, and it gets in every crack and crevice. From the raw steel, raw tubing, raw pipe, to this, it's come a long ways. It looks totally different once you get some color on it.
Definitely, looks real good.
The fact that it's color matched to the truck, it didn't look like you just took some frame and put anything. You know that frame goes to that truck on those wheels. Everything unloaded, everything's situated on the table. We can start assembling the frame, put the motor or transmission on it, roll it underneath the body, and put the body down. And it's gonna look good. The big billet wheels on it, going down the road.
Tornado damage on the 2019 Polaris. Now Jamie and I are gonna build a custom cage from scratch. You know, the tornado definitely threw this thing for many loops, but you know, we got this thing back where it needs to be. The next step is building the cage. So once the cage is built, tied into the framework of the little side-by-side, everything is going to be super strong and not bend or give. It's going to hold everything perfectly level and straight. So what I'm going to do first is just start bending some pipe up, get the angles right, and kind of step back and look at it, see what feels right, and just keep building upon that. Send it over here. Jump to the forward, please. What I want to do is build a sporty custom cage. We obviously have to replace what's missing. So if we're going to do that, I want to make something, you know, a little bit lower profile, stretch it a little bit, instead of just buying a new one online. You know, that's what we do. We build custom things. So not only, you know, put some safety back in it, some rigidity back in it, but put some custom coolness back in it too. I like the way how everything flows, man. It looks good, and it's super strong too. She's gonna be happy.
Definitely looks real good together.
My kids are gonna be so jealous.
Oh, we gotta build another one?
Man, it's come a long way since this little side-by-side was tossed by the tornado. Jamie's making a custom aluminum roof.
That fits nice. We're happy with that.
And we had a custom wrap made for it. We're adding in a brand new stereo system and some light bars. I can't wait for Doug's granddaughter to see this thing now. So I'm really excited. You know, we finally got this project done. Today's the day we're going to give it back to some special little girl. You know, typically I would usually turn a project away like this, but, you know, considering it's for Doug and what it means to Doug and his family, you know, I can't not help out on this.
What's going on, Bill? Man, good to see you.
How you doing, man?
This is my granddaughter, McKinley.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I heard a lot about you. Grandpa's pretty proud of you.
That's right.
Your grandpa was telling me you were in a little scary little incident a while back. Tell me what happened.
There was a tornado.
You were in the tornado? Was that scary?
Yeah.
Man, I bet it was. Not only your house was totally gone, there was something you really loved was gone too, right? What was that?
My buggy.
The wind took it way far away?
Down to our pond.
In the pond? It was messed up bad, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Her buggy was only 6 months old, so I knew I had to bring it here to get it fixed. It meant a lot to her. Now it's time to see what Bill and the boys have done.
I tell you what, we got you fixed up. Grandpa got you fixed up. You ready to check it out?
Yeah.
I bet you are. I bet you ready to ride.
You ready to ride?
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
Let's see it. Holy cow, look at that, McKinley. Man, that is awesome, Bill. Look at that. What do you think?
I love it.
You love it?
Yeah.
Golly. Wow. Bill, that don't even look like the same buggy.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Man.
Last time you seen it was a little squished, huh?
Yeah. When the buggy came out, I was so excited to see it. Let's just say I was speechless.
Man, that thing looks great, Bill. Tell me what all y'all did.
Well, you seen
Yeah.
the parts we had to work with, right?
Yeah, I did.
Once we put it on the lift, we started dismantling it. We really noticed the frame was hurt a lot more than originally thought.
Yeah.
You know, the plastics and everything were hiding a lot of damage underneath there. It had to replace the rear axle, replaced all the plastics. So we put new bumpers on it. And of course, it didn't have...
What's that on the door?
A tornado.
A tornado?
Had Pixelworks come over and they custom wrapped it. They designed this wrap for you.
For you. You know how we know it's just for you? It's got Doodle on the door.
Hey, where'd you get the name Doodle?
Popsy gave it to me.
Popsy gave it to you? That's awesome.
Man, it looks great, Bill. It really does.
Build a whole new cage. We made all that in-house. Instead of buying, just a replacement, we made it a little bit shorter and a little bit more laid back. Give it a little more cool look, sleek look. Made a new roof for it, made it a little bit longer. We made it all out of aluminum. Went back with lighting, had to put the stereo back in it. And we put some little antennas on the back with lights in them.
That's all. What do you say?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Doug, I know this is special for you, and it's special for us.
Man, that's nice, isn't it?
Thank you for letting us be a part of this very special project. Over on the other side of the shop, the guys are making good progress on the rolling chassis. And now it's the moment of truth.
4 links to the axle, hook the airbags up, and then we'll be able to run all the brake lines, the brake calipers, put the front wheels on, we can air it up and roll it out. But we have to put all the wiring on there, all the modules, the DEF, all that's going back on, so the whole thing will be hooked back up like it was factory. Now it's just the tedious part of just putting it all back together.
This 2020 Denali wants this low and loud. We got the low taken care of. Now to make it loud by finishing up the articulating speakers. I got the hard part done. I got the lifting part that's going to lift the speakers over the bed. The next step to all this is making it motorized. So I'm going to put an actuator on the back to lift this up. But I'm going to try to do it with just one actuator and trying to make it lift evenly. That's another little trick too. So once that's all set up, put 12 volts to it, it should lift these speakers right up over the bed. It's pretty dang close. The whole object of this whole bracketry is pushing a button and having the speakers come out of the bed. Just whole overall project, right? What I'm going to do is cut out a piece of 2x2 square tubing to make a bracket for the lower part of the actuator. Affix it to the whole bracket, push a button, and it lifts up. We got all our little pieces cut. We got everything mocked up. The next step is putting some power to it and see if this actually works. Everything we build, you have a general idea. Once you have the idea, then you start building plans.
The main thing is just having the creativity of having the idea. That's a huge hurdle. Once you have that, it's just using your skills, using your tools, and just making it happen. Pretty cool.
Everything back from powder coat. We've got all the front suspension on, the rear suspension's on, brake lines are ran, fuel lines are ran. We're at the exciting point now. We can finally marry this cab to this chassis. It's like you do everything, and here's the keys to the new house. Now you can move in.
Is that in?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Just trying to line up here to line up this bolt with this hole. There we go, straight down. It makes it much easier. Plus the motor's so tight, the transmission's so tight that you don't have a lot of room side to side. All right, ready?
Yeah.
So we put it down. It's a little bit too far off. We'll hit the body. We could hit a module. Could hit something else. So we're taking a little bit of time. Line this up. Drop the whole thing down, and everything should clear. How's the radiator look?
We're getting close.
Watch your fingers. We married the cab to the chassis. We're about to do the bed to the chassis. All right, we gotta watch this bar when we set this down. We can't scratch it.
Down, 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 down.
Go forward, down. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Good job, guys.
And now you can see the bed on the truck. You see all the notch coming through that's gonna hold the gooseneck. All that white shining through the black bed liner just stands out and pops really nice.
Now we got about 40% of the wiring done. This thing got so much electrical going on. It's about a full day of work just messing with wiring. This is the main fuse box to the whole vehicle. If this ain't hooked up correctly, it needs to be sent. I should only go on one way. See that little green thing pop up? That means it's connected and tight. The plug from the bottom is seated properly to the pins at the bottom of this fuse panel.
Man, we're at the final stages of getting this truck off the lift and on the ground. Seems like we've been doing wiring for 4 days now.
I'm so sick of seeing wires. Most of them are plugged in. Only a few left that are really giving me a hard time. There is just a ton of wiring and connectors that gotta get crammed in the areas and tied down. Oh man, so much stuff.
On big builds like this, it's super satisfying to see it all come together at the end. 28-inch wheels, speakers attached to articulating arms in the bed. We're ready to show this to the world.
I don't know about you guys, but I've been here 7 years now.
I've been here 7 years also.
Oh yeah, we sure have, huh?
This year will be 12 years.
That's 12 too many.
You know, it's like anything, when you start here, you know, Bill has his own way of doing it, and then you start seeing a new helper show up. He starts doing it some other way, and you're like, maybe the way Bill's gonna want it.
Yeah,
so
you gotta pass it on. Everything will roll along a lot smoother doing it the way we've done it.
It's definitely easier, you know, that we work together so much that we already know how this other person works. You know, I know what you're gonna do, I know how you're gonna do it, and I can pick up right where y'all left off.
We just practically became mind readers. We know what each other's we know what each other's doing and how to continue.
Pretty sure I spend more time here than home.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can guarantee I've opened that gate and shut that gate more than Bill himself.
You're right about that.
The big day for the 2020 Denali is finally here, and JD drove all the way down from Kansas City to see what we've been up to.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Bill? Good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you, man. It's a great day, huh?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Great day to pick up a dually.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I heard you got a little car collection yourself.
Yeah, I do. I got quite a few lifted trucks, a few hot rods.
But never anything lowered.
Yeah, nothing slammed.
You know, what finally clicked and said, I gotta have a lowered dually?
I heard it was the world's first. I had to do it. Nothing better than a lowered dually. The reason why I wanted a lowered truck this time is just pulling up to shows, being able to slam it down to the ground, you know, watch people's, response,
just something different than the lifted truck scene that's been going on the last few years.
I love lifted trucks, but, close to my heart is lower trucks, and especially lower dualies.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
You ready to check it out?
I am.
All right, come on, Timmy. Let's check it out.
Oh, no way. No way. Oh. Yeah, you guys knocked this out of the park. Yes. Yes. Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there. Yes. Hey, I wanted it low. You got it low for me. Yeah, that looks good. The white frame, color matched everything, sitting on the ground. This is beyond my expectations. I can't believe it.
What you think?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, you guys did an amazing job. It's awesome.
Thank you, man. I mean, Timmy, John, they got down on this, as always. Well, how we had to start is picked it up on the lift and just started unbolting and unbolting and unbolting. Once that was all done, rolled it out and just got busy. Built the suspension, the air suspension on it, to building super strong control arms, to a big heavy duty 4-link for the rear. I mean, this is one of the biggest, strongest frames we've ever built here. I mean, it is overkill.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what you want. That peace of mind when you're going down the road, you want to know that everything is 100% strong and built the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you guys did it. So it's absolutely amazing what these guys can do. Can take a brand new 2020 truck, take the old frame out and build a frame from scratch. I mean, I'm just absolutely blown away.
JD, what do you think about those wheels?
Yeah, I love them.
A 28-inch dually wheel on something that low, it just makes a huge, huge statement.
Yeah, the polish looks great on them. Engraved the Richline Motorsports in it. Perfect fit, too.
To finish it all off, you see everything's been color matched. Got rid of all the black plastic. We smoothed all that out, painted it body color. And, it just makes this truck look classy.
Yeah, it does. It's not too much chrome, not too much white. It just all flows together.
Let's check out under the hood.
Yeah, let's check it out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks good. I can't believe that you guys took all this out and got it back in and still made it look factory. Yeah, that's amazing.
Man, it was hard enough getting the motor up to the cowl, much less.
Yeah, I got the tubs in here, color match everything. I mean, it looks great.
I appreciate that. You think this is cool. I really got something to show you in the back.
Yeah, let's check it out. I'm excited to see it. Oh, yeah. God, that is crazy. You can see everything.
Right?
Got the gooseneck in here. That is amazing.
That isn't just something that just bolts into the bed. That is all made directly to the frame. It's artwork made into the framework itself.
Yeah, this should be able to pull anything that I need to pull.
Absolutely. Those huge airbags on there, just pick this big truck right off the ground with whatever weight you got on it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
You wanted some speakers in the back.
Yeah, I see that you guys added some speakers in here.
Show me the other part?
Yeah, Timmy hit it. Down here in the bed's cool. It's going to make, a lot of noise, but check this out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
There's just one more thing. People are just going to go, what?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Not only, the look of the truck is going to draw people, when they hear this sound, it's just going to project for a mile away.
Yeah, that's awesome how it's got the actuator to bring it right up. I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park. This is a dream come true right here. Hey, you know what? Maybe next SEMA, I can find something a little bit harder for you guys.
JD, you threw us a tall order, but as you can see, truck, but it's definitely not a fun truck. We're going to rip every bit of this totally out and just start over. We're going to bring this thing into the 21st century.
Great Coyote. Should be putting a little over 7 after the tuning.
It's a big old motor in a small little place, man.
The side-by-side is great to get out and just have a good time with the family. It's time for an upgrade. I want to build an all-tube buggy. If this isn't a ground-up build, I don't know what it is.
Oh, look at my girl. Look at my girl. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game.
don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Like seeing a new project roll through the doors, especially, a cool Bronco rolls up, but popping out of the driver's seat.
The beast has landed. Bill!
Is Ted Nugent.
Are these the greatest trucks in the world?
They are, man. I'm a big fan of the Broncos for sure.
Original Bronco. It's an icon, man. And I've been Broncoing my whole life. I got my first one in 1970. I got a 66. I got a 73. I got a big Bill Strop fire-breathing 90. I've always had Broncos. I love my Broncos. But this one I've probably had for 30 years. My beloved 1974 Ford Bronco. This is my baby. What you guys do here are miracles of wrench dreams, and I can't wait for you to turn my beast into my dream.
What are you doing with this?
Well, I want it to always be an old Bronco. You know, the look, the history, the icon. I want it to be tough, dependable, highway and Baja. And I know you can do it. I've seen what you've done.
Absolutely.
Probably a lot more horsepower, a lot more torque.
I got something in mind for that.
I bet you got something in mind for horsepower and torque. Bottom line is I want performance and fun. I want...
Or has been all his life. He's had these things since these things were new. So he knows all about the Broncos and he knows exactly what he wants. So power. Performance. Reliability is a given.
Number one.
So underneath this thing, we're just going to rip everything out and just start fresh.
Drive line and drive shafts, heavy duty stuff.
Everything 100%. Just bulletproof.
Yep. Well, I need a Baja capable suspension as if I was going to go race in an off-road race, which I did for about a dozen years.
What are you working with under here?
I know you pivot as I do on the heart of the beast. And here we have the heart of the beast. It's a beautiful 360 stroker that really performs well and delivers close to what I'm dreaming of.
Popping the hood on this thing, you see the engine that's in it. It's all right, but this is for Ted Nugent. It's got to have a lot of power. I think the best thing to do with this is just rip all this out. Every bit of wiring, the engine, the trans, and just start fresh.
Bill Strop would be proud.
This is going to be fun.
I know black trucks are cool as hell, but I've seen some of yours. Deep, dark bronze, copper, and all the accessories keep them black. How am I doing? I'm just a guitar player. That sounds pretty good.
That sounds real good. The bronze look on this thing with black accents.
That's my Freedom Eagle. This is my Freedom Eagle. I know this might not be preferable to some custom truck designers, but when you're all done, put my Eagle back on.
All right, you got it. So what do you got on the interior of this thing?
Well, you and I share a dream on the exterior, and I'm sure we share that dream on the interior. The stock Bronco seats are awesome. The speakers are too big. The roll cage, you're going to have to extensifize for me. But I want you to recommend stuff every step of the way, because your trucks are the best I've ever seen.
Well, I already know what to do. We're going to rip every bit of this totally out and just start over. New gauges, new steering wheel, new everything. Something just comfortable.
I've had so much fun working on my trucks all these years, and I know these guys at Extensive, they love their work. This is their dream job, and this is my dream project. We have a dream, and we share it. Bring my beast to life, Bill.
You got it. This old Bronco, it was built to be used. This thing is just meant to go out and conquer things. Every button on this thing, every handle, lever is built for a purpose. Just looking over this thing, seeing all the modifications, time is over. There's so many things we can build at the shop that just going to bring this thing into the 21st century and make something really, really, really cool for Ted. Before we start cutting up this Bronco, I really need to take it on a spin and really see what old Ted's working with. When I'm out on a test drive with a vehicle like this, you kind of feel how much power it has. You feel how it handles, how it just drives down the road. You just kind of see where all the improvements need to be. In this case, every
everything needs to be improved. This thing's a fun truck, but it's definitely not a fun truck. It was good in the past, but now it isn't cutting it. As you can see, didn't take much to get this thing stuck. We're gonna get it unstuck, get it back to the shop so we can cut this thing up. What do you think about the little Bronco? Pretty cool, huh?
That's real cool.
Am I a little bit? You know, it definitely doesn't have the power that it needs.
Bill Carlton said some don't have power.
Yeah.
Only 9 out of 10 times.
Ted wants to get in this thing and drive it wherever, however,
off-road, jump, whatever he wants.
He's going to abuse this thing. I want this thing to be able to go 100 miles an hour down the road and just jump over stuff, jump right back on the freeway, haul ass home.
So he drives just like you.
You know, I might have to drive it home and test it out a day or two, you know, just to make sure it's good for him before we give it back. Right? First thing we need to do is get it up on the lift so we can strip out all the old suspension. Everything's got to go. We'll build a super strong, bulletproof 4-link suspension, coilovers, front and rear, something that he can just launch this thing. Got a stroker 360 in there. Looks nice, decent. It was real cool back in the 80s, but it's definitely not going to cut it now. Rip everything in here, all the wiring, everything 100% out of here. I'm going to put a brand new 5.0 with supercharger on it.
This little thing with supercharger.
Right? Once we get all the suspension built, John and the guys over at the interior shop can start building something old and put back in what's needed. As far as the exterior, of course I like black cars, but in this case he picked a bronze copper color. Of course we'll put our little spin on that to really get the color right on it.
We're getting rid of the Eagle, right?
Man, he was pretty set on having the Eagle on the hood, so I don't know if I can talk him out of that one. Ted's definitely made updates to this Bronco over the years. But we're going to tear all that out. The old suspension, drive shafts, shocks, you name it. So we can start all over again.
Well, there is a bunch of stuff in here.
Bunch of everything bolted down.
What we'll do, I guess, is take the hood, flip it all the way back, and then pull everything out from the top. So we'll take everything, just fold it over on top of the motor, put it on a pallet, wrap it up, and then we'll get ready to put the Coyote in it.
Jamie, watch your fingers, listen. All right, back up. Let me see that, Bravo. Let the truck down some, just a little bit.
Now we have it out, we're gonna wrap it up with some plastic, put all the parts on this pallet. We'll ship that back to Ted. He's got 4 or 5 other Broncos. He liked this motor so much, he's gonna put in something else.
Buddy. Look what I got for you today. Crate Coyote, a little supercharger on top. Should be putting a little over 7 after the tuning.
This thing's going to be a huge improvement when we pulled out that thing.
This is going to be 100% American flag waving rock and roll.
Going down. Good?
Yeah, good so far. A big part of the custom world is creating custom details, even in places you don't always look.
It's a big old motor in a small little place, man. That thing fits in there.
Wake up this 74 Bronco, but we definitely can't leave its engine bay looking stock.
Basically, when you open this hood, it just looks squared. It was bed liner, and it just looked like an old Bronco. So we're adding these panels in here. these two here to take up the sides. Now we're gonna do the front panel that covers the radiator. Kind of made a rough template. This will give us a rough estimate of where we need to be. We'll cut this piece out of a piece of sheet metal. It's gonna fit right on the truck the first time. You know, that's a good part about doing what we do is there's no real book on how to do it. Everybody has their own different way. So with this, it's just kind of free reign to do whatever you want, as long as it makes the engine bay look better. And when it's done and painted, it looks like a lot of thought went into that rather than just a bunch of scanning and print. What do you think, buddy? You got a cold-ass nose. You know, this is another example of like geometry in school, trying to read out of a book. What happened? Now, in the shop, whether it's a suspension, it's placing a bag panels, we use it all the time. Hands-on geometry, I love. Trying to figure things out, trying to figure out angles, this and that. If I would have hands-on learned it like this, I would have been a straight A student. See how this engine bay starts, everything hidden. So when you open the hood, it makes all your attention go to this motor. We want to give him 100% effort on this engine bay. When you open it, it's just a wow factor.
John, help us grab his top off.
Ted's Bronco just isn't for show. So I have Tim and John building a custom lift that's going to give this Bronco a ton of travel and it's going to ride super smooth.
So in the back of this Bronco, we're doing a triangulated 4-link instead of just your traditional parallel 4-link with a panhard bar. And what we got is our lower arms starting out wide, coming in towards the frame, and the upper arms starting narrow and go wide towards the frame. And that's what keeps the rear end centered underneath this truck. In my honest opinion, this suspension design is way better for like off-roading or jumping stuff. If you jump off the ground or hit bumps or uneven roads, this thing stays centered as the axle does this. And that's what we want, because he is going to be off-roading this truck, so he has to have the best suspension articulation for it. Now we got a 4-link in place, exactly where we want our rear end. Cycle the suspension up and down. Articulates pretty good, Timmy. This thing's gonna drive really, really good.
So when this Bronco came in, it was originally leaf spring, where the leaf spring held the Bronco up. I need room for the coilover to go to here, up, and as you can see, we're gonna run into the body. So I'm gonna come in here where they've already notched it back for their shock. I'm gonna cut the body out of the way, and then we'll have room to mount the coilover however we want, to mount it properly without having to go around the body. This is the notch on the bottom. So we're gonna continue this line back, flush with the back. I'm gonna cut this, and this will eventually move out to here, and we'll skin the middle back in. As you can see, this thin wall tubing definitely was not gonna hold the truck up. So it's basically made for a shock, not for a coilover.
Off-roading's come a long way since this Bronco rolled off the lot in 1974. And while we're bringing the suspension in the 21st century, John and Brian are going to update the interior. What's up, man?
What we got? We got
parts. We got a new project going on.
What we got today?
So, man, I'm thinking of the
heat shield?
AR heat shield. What I'm thinking is we take these and use these as armrests. And we can take these rail mounts, get these mounted to the door, take this with the Picatinny rails in it, and bolt it in place. And then
pretty solid.
Yeah. And then down on the bottom of this door, just to break up that flatness, well, I'm thinking we just take out of some ABS plastic and make our own Picatinny rails. We just wrap the door panel over top of those, and this thing will come together pretty quick.
Let's get it. Got my piece of ABS here. What I'm fixing to start doing is I'm gonna put this on this table saw. With this dado blade here, it'll cut us the right width that we need to start making our mock-up Picatinny mounts out of plastic. But now that I've got this panel all cut down to mimic the Picatinny rails, now I gotta cut it into thinner strips so it carries the same design all the way through. Now that these are all cut, you notice these are square versus these are beveled over. And then we'll run them back through so we can bevel the edges to make it mimic perfect. See my bevels here? We are matching now. Our dado blade cuts these little lines in here. We gotta get those out of there. What we use this tucking tool. You can just get them in there and push them, pop it loose.
These things are going to see where we want to put that at. We got everything cut, modified, ready to go. Get it marked out so we can get the holes drilled in. And then we'll take these rails here that Brian just finished up and get these on the bottom of the door. Get everything locked into place. Once it's all locked in, this panel will be ready to wrap and get it on the truck.
As busy as we are, I gotta make a little time to take the kids out to nature. You know, just clear my mind. Ted's been a huge part of the off-road community for many years, and working on this Bronco has made me think about something that I had in mind for quite a while. You know, it's no secret, I'm kind of hard on my vehicles. I hadn't found one yet that'll hold up 100% of the time when I'm driving. So, I'm gonna start building my own.
I knew it.
It's time for an upgrade.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Are you gonna build one of these?
Maybe. It crawls over stuff, but I know we can build something way, way bigger and better.
So does Mom know you want to build one of these?
She don't even know everything. You know, I've been thinking about this project for quite some time. You know, after taking the kids out, this project I'm getting really, really excited about. The side-by-side game has just gotten unbelievably crazy. I mean, these things are 1,000cc, 170 plus horsepower right out of the box. It feels like you're, you know, in a slingshot. But still, those things are very limited. There's always a belt gonna break, ball joint gonna snap every time you take them out. I just want something totally one of a kind, unique, and indestructible. I got some big ideas, some big plans, and I got 4 really big things on the back of this record to get started with.
What is this? Those are some big tires,
right? Yeah, 58 inches tall, 24-inch rim.
Wow. Man, what are your plans with this thing?
You know, the side-by-side, but it's definitely limited, right? Well, with these, I want to build something that just pretty much limitless.
That's really scary coming from you. Right. Really scary. So you want to build a buggy from nothing.
We're going to build everything around these tires.
That's going to be fun.
Big shocks, big 4-link with big military axles, so I'll never have to worry about snapping axle or anything like that. All tube chassis and big Cummins diesel in this thing.
Oh, so, diesel?
Yeah, just over the top and just indestructible is what I want.
You found the limitations on your Baja truck. You found the limitations on your side-by-side. I know you're going to push this to the limitations.
Well, you know, you got to test everything out to see where those limits are, right?
So does your wife know about this?
You know, Keegan asked me the same thing. She ain't got to know everything. Right?
All right.
You know, most of the time, you're starting out with a car, a truck, lifted, lowered. You got a kind of idea of what your parameters are. On this specific build, we're starting out with tires. That's it. Pretty much all of this build is in my head. One of the first things when you're designing something like this, it totally depends on the wheelbase, the stance. You know, once you get the tires in place, once those proportions look good, first you get the floor built. You figure out where the engine's gonna be. You figure out where the seats are gonna be. Once that's established, then you start building the cage itself. Then you start building the front end around the engine. Then you start building the rear end around shocks. All that comes into play, and you can only establish that in stages. Once you establish all that, you can actually start cutting some metal and start building. Finish the custom 4 links on the Bronco. Now John and Tim are going to make rear shock towers.
Now, due to having a tall, long travel shock, we have to go higher with the shock mount. So we had to build this hoop that's going to get welded to the frame and raised up about a good 10 inches higher, so the top of the shock come out way up in the truck, which is going to give us the distance we need from here to the axle to accommodate that long travel shock. Right, just about a half inch from the bottom. There. Now we got our shock tower in place. All we got to do now is make our shock mounts to attach the shock from here down to the axle.
Are you done now?
So I'm waiting on you. Now I got the shock in place, set up at right height. Now I just got to add some reinforcements to the shock tower that are going to go a little something like that and connect it down to the frame. Put me some reference lines up there, get them spaced right. Got cut on that line there. Not only is this going to give this shock tower a whole lot more strength, but it also has the signature extensive aesthetic with this little step out here on the frame and then the tubing put it up to it. Now, if you see a style like this out on the road, you know this came from Extensive. Ted's going to abuse the crap out of this Bronco. So he's going to need some good coilover shocks to go with this heavy-duty suspension we're building on it. These ain't your ordinary shocks you go pick up at an auto parts shop. These are designed to take a beating. Anything he wants to drive it through, this shock will handle. We're going to mock up one of the shocks without the spring. Long travel suspension means that your suspension will articulate a lot more than what a stock suspension would. And in this case, you got 12 inches of suspension travel on this truck. I wish I had 4 of them for my truck. Then I'd paint it and wash it.
Nice. All right, so we got our new foams for Ted's Bronco. These have been modified a little bit. They've got these bolsters made into them to help hold him in the seat a little better. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna take our foams. We're gonna start drawing out our patterns on this so we can get it all figured out and get everything to size. That way we can take that and transfer that from our foam into our material. Then we'll have something to sew together. I'm just transferring my patterns into this chipboard here for my insert. We'll cut this out. So what I'll do is I'll just use these pieces to get everything lined out and drawn out on top of my vinyl. All right, got it all drawn up. Everything's laid out. Next thing I'm gonna do, sit down and start sewing. Put some thread in this material. Pretty intricate on this because your last stitch will land exactly on the point where you want to turn, because if you're off on your turn just a little bit, it won't line up with the next line, then your whole pattern gets off. That's done. Now all we gotta do is cut it out. All right, that's one piece of one part to the many parts we have to make, so I gotta get started on this. We'll get everything transferred on the rest and get them all cut out and start sewing them together.
With the new Coyote, custom shocks, suspension, it's really important to keep the Bronco running straight. And John's working on that right now.
Now that we're done with the suspension, all we gotta do is add the steering shocks to stabilize the steering. With these big wheels and tires, you need some kind of absorption to absorb all the shock that the tires are gonna be going through. So we're gonna put 2 of these in line as so, and these are gonna take all the shock out of the steering. So I got my mounts cut out, and these are gonna be placed here, centered with the differential. Now we're gonna mount 2 shocks here, one going this way, one going that way, fixed to the steering. Now we got the shock mount in, shocks mounted, everything's in line. Now we gotta do is make the last final 2 tabs on each end. We're gonna bolt these up to the end of the shock, 21 3/4. tack that. And we'll steer it to the right. Tack that side. Now we got the steering shocks on. As you can see, it steers left and right. It's gonna make for a smoother ride while Ted's taking this thing off-roading.
Now that John's finished up with the steering on the Bronco,
ready to get this body off?
It's time to blow apart the frame and suspension.
We're gonna get this frame moved out of the way, get another dolly in here to set the body on, and get the body over to the body shop. Now that we got the chassis out from underneath the body, we got the shocks off out of the way, it's time to finish welding everything out since everything's just tacked in place for now. Get that all welded out, get the engine off, and then this will get sent off powder coat.
You know, I've never built before. I want to build an all-tube buggy. Of course, with any project, you want something, you know, pretty much indestructible. You got to start out with some indestructible parts. So I'm going to meet up with a friend of mine, Charlie. He's got some military trucks in his property, so we're going to dig around, see what we can come up with to really get this project started.
What up, Charlie? What's going on, Bill?
Man, I need your help. You know, I want to build a buggy, just something I can take anywhere and do anything with, just something totally indestructible. And I know you got those military trucks back there. What better axles to use than those big old deuce and a half?
I got them hid back there in the bushes. It's growed up pretty good, but we're going to have to get past the guard donkey.
You got a guard donkey?
I carry carrots, so they don't bite you. Me and Bill go way back. We've been friends for about 25 years. They called me. I had a tow truck at the time. I went out there and he had a truck, the airbag blowed out of it.
Man, you really do have a donkey.
Got it up on the truck, got it hauled to the shop and dropped off without any damage to it. We've been friends ever since. There's a carrot. You're going to have to become his friend before the day is up.
Come here, buddy.
I got a donkey because the donkey is loud. You can pet him, it's barking all the time, but when you hear my donkey holler, you know somebody's in the yard.
Man, he don't look too bad, Charlie. So all you need to do is bring some carrots and I can have whatever I want, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. Where are these axles at?
Back here in the back.
Charlie, you got crap everywhere.
I got a hoarding disorder.
Yeah. That's a totally different show.
This place, been here about 20 years. I collect a little bit of everything. I got boats, jet skis, front end loaders, fuel tank, Volkswagens, Jeeps.
What are you gonna do with this?
Think about making a restaurant out of it one day. Well, you know, I might make a hunting cabin. The houseboat, I was gonna take it out to my place on the lake, but the community rules didn't like the idea of me bringing it up there and making a cabin out of it, so this is as far as it's gotten. Well, here she is.
That's exactly what I need, Charlie. Weighs 2.5 tons?
Yes, sir.
You got a tree growing through this thing. How long has this been back here?
Well, we count the rings on that tree. It'll tell you how long it's been sitting there.
Well, this is it, man. You know, I can't haul this thing.
No, I'll get the loader and drag it out.
Man, I know you're going to give me a good deal on these things.
I'll figure out something for you to trade out on. You might have to get some carrots from a donkey.
All right. Since these have been operational, so we'll need to fix them up. But these axles are exactly what I need for my buggy. If this isn't a ground up build, I don't know what it is. We have axles and tires for my off-road buggy. Because we're building this from scratch, sourcing the right parts is even more important. And the list, it just keeps growing.
What's up, boss?
What's up, man? Need some parts
for your buggy. Need a lot of parts.
Got the diesel engine.
Diesel
family. Bring the engine. Bring the trans. We got tires. We need column, steering wheel, seats.
because all of the builds in my head, each part we get just kind of influences the next one. We need wheels. We need big wheels. Gotta have to make them.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have somebody make those.
Yeah. Shocks. We need big shocks.
It's one like some big 2.5 or a 3 with a big remote reservoir.
Correct.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, you already know. Once we get all the parts, we can go to the next phase of design and start building something we've never built here at the shop before. And we'll get there. I promise you that.
I think that's a manageable list. I think I can knock that out pretty quick.
With this being a personal build and us being as busy as we are, it's going to be slow and steady. You know, I finally want something that will hold up to my driving.
That's a tall order, but
right?
That's what we got to do then.
That's what we're doing.
Right on. I'm with it.
We're doing it.
It's going to be awesome.
While the body guys are finishing up on the 74 Bronco, John's getting that much closer to buttoning up that custom interior.
Got the panels all ready to wrap, and cool idea just turned into a pain in the butt idea.
Let's build Picatinny rails. You know, wrap them in vinyl. I'm gonna start questioning from now on what these great ideas are.
Working on these door panels, they've been a real pain to get these details, but that's kind of what we do around here, you know. We make it different, try to outdo ourselves. You know, I've never made a Picatinny rail before, much less tried to wrap one. Anybody else? Just like that, the door panel for the Bronco is finished. So all of our time so far has just been spent making pieces and patterns and panels and all that good stuff. So now all we're gonna do is sit down here and put it all together. Wanted to personalize these a little bit for Ted. Had the embroidery shop embroider his logo directly onto it. It's gonna look pretty cool on top of the seat. All right, that's the last pieces of the covers for Ted's truck. Test fit these, just make sure they fit just right. The logo turned out really nice up here. Gives us a nice personal touch. Everything worked out good. The lines are nice and neat and straight. Get this thing buttoned up. We'll get them in the truck and we'll be just about done.
Ted said he wanted stray away from the black. He wanted some color this time. And he said he wanted some, you know, like a bronzy kind of coppery color. So I'm looking through little color chips to kind of see what would look cool. I'm definitely feeling the copper color, but finding that right one is always difficult. We're getting close, or I think that right there, I think that's it right there. The perfect color for Ted's Bronco. Every color kind of plays upon the wheels, tires, the stance. You know, when it's picking color for myself, nothing to it. Hey, I like that color. But when you're picking a color for someone else, especially Ted Nugent, you want to make sure it's right for sure. All the metal fabrication, all the interior, all the wheels, tires, suspension, all that is void if the color isn't right. So this is a crucial stage in any build. I think probably a black roof along with glossy black suspension, maybe color match bead locks on the wheels. That'd just totally make for not only a huge transformation, but just something that just looks mean, and Ted's gonna be happy to be seen in this. Ted said he wanted to transform this Bronco into a beast. And seeing the rolling chassis come together, new wheels, tires.
Too much, right there.
You know, I don't think you could call it anything else except a beast.
There is a Bronco cult, and I may be the czar of the Bronco cult. I'm not just the Motor City madman because someone thought I was. I really am. I was born in Detroit in '48, and you add the horsepower Detroit guy to a bow hunting outdoor maniac like me, and by the time I got my first Bronco in 1970, I thought I was like Mickey Thompson and Bill Strop and Parnelli Jones at the Baja. Even though I was only in a swamp in the Michigan woods, those off-road races were the research and development of what we now enjoy, even with the brand new Broncos coming out. There's Bronco Dreams, and then there's Texas Metal Extensive Bronco Dreams. I can't wait to get behind the wheel and just go nuts.
74 Bronco. But before we give it back, I want to surprise Ted with one more detail that I know he'll love.
That's a whole lot better place than the hood. That's pretty cool. Freedom Eagle.
We've been working on this Bronco for him for quite some time. It's a huge journey, a lot of work. And today is the day we find out how good we did. If we did all right, or if it's Ted Nugent approved.
Bill, good to see you.
Man, good to see you, man. Good to see you.
I can't wait to see what you've done to my girl. I have these big dreams.
You know, I'd be lying if I say I'm not nervous right now about what you think about your truck, because I know you have such extensive history with Broncos, and I know you know every nut and bolt on a Bronco.
I do, yeah. I might know the history of Broncos, but I'm looking forward to the future of the extensive Bronco, because I have a funny feeling that this is unprecedented. And if you would please bring me my girl ASAP before I go nuts.
I'm ready to show you this. We've been all working hard.
Begin.
Let's check it out.
Oh, look at my girl. Look at my girl. Bill, you're my man. You're my Bronco daddy. Oh, praise the mighty Bronco. This is a dream come true, Bill. And thank you so much. This is exactly what I envisioned. Say hallelujah, Bronco cult everywhere. It sounds beautiful. It looks beautiful. It smells beautiful. Wow. Congratulations, gentlemen. You're my Bronco czars. I'm glad you don't play guitar. I'd have to quit. You pushed my limits. You beat the living out of me, man. This is, I just love this.
His reaction totally sealed the deal. We know we did a good job. First thing, you know, it was a nice truck, but we had to get it up on the lift and just rip everything out.
Yep.
Everything is 100% brand new.
The long four-link bars, extended travel coilover shocks, so you can take this thing through anything and ride comfortably.
Michigan swamps haven't got a prayer. I see it all. The custom bumpers, the lights, the roof rack is just unbelievable. With all their unique, creative, original classic Bronco image, but you fortified and augmented it. It's Bronco art. It's got that burnt orange copper bronze thing going on. And you even got the matching bronze on the axles and on the pigs.
With the black suspension, you know, black frame. You want a little color down underneath there,
yeah,
right?
This color combination is absolutely perfect. And the word perfect is so rare nowadays.
Ted, I know you're going to be spending a lot of time in it.
I will.
Check this out.
Let's check it out. Oh, boy. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Look at my new home on wheels. How beautiful is that?
We couldn't leave well enough alone, right? So we just ripped everything down to the sheet metal, upgraded everything, the seats, the headliner, the door panels. We just had to incorporate.
Great touch, man. Those look like Nugentized door panels to me. Perfect. The more you can Nugentize, the better life you have. You've really checked off all the boxes. This is going to be my daily driver. It's not a show truck, but it's a go truck that happens to be a show truck. And I'm not going to treat it too tenderly. I will respect your artistry, but she's going to be a workhorse.
I know you had to keep the Eagle. We had to keep the Eagle.
Had to keep the Eagle.
But, you know, we kept it. And it's here with it. You can touch it at all times.
You made a great decision, man. Thank you so much.
Well, if you like this, wait till you see under the hood.
I can't wait to see under the hood. I love under the hood. It's all awesome, but I have a funny feeling this is going to be my favorite.
Me too.
Oh my God. I don't think that's legal in Detroit. That is so beautiful. Look at that.
The engine that came in here, it was all right.
That's nice.
Nothing compared to the new Coyote, especially with the supercharger on. Max tune, you're probably about 7.
That'll do.
Pushing a little over 7.
That'll do. That'll get me where I'm going. To get this beast in an old Bronco, congratulations. You
One
guys
thing we
are
wanted to do for you was leave everything you need accessible.
Right.
But everything else is all under the panels, so
Right.
you don't see none of that. Out of sight, out of
It's
mind.
an engineering masterpiece. Again, this is the way everybody should do it. That engine compartment is so clean and so efficient. What he does to the engine bay, it's literally artwork. I had visions and outrageous ideas, but you guys actually kicked my ass. I'm going to go to these old Bronco rallies, and the rest of the Broncos are going to part like the Red Sea.
Let's go for a ride.
Let's go for a ride. I'm driving.
We all put 100% old truck. It's a huge honor for myself and my team to put our skills, our passion, and our just love for what we do into a project like this.